Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back.
Hope everybody is having a great Lionsgate day.
Oh my gosh, it's a fantastic day. It's really, really high energy, and I know you guys can feel it.
Absolutely. This is a time where we have to put our intention out, and we did have several people mention doing meditations or leading a meditation, and we will definitely work on that. We used to do lives all the time, but what happened was during the lives, we would basically end up getting attacked energetically, and there was a time period where Cindy was not doing so well health-wise. Channeling can take a huge toll on the body, huge, and other things as well. You know, basically energetic attacks can also take a toll. So we went away from doing the lives, plus every live that we did, basically YouTube would demonetize and then take forever to upload. We ran into all sorts of technical difficulties, which we still have to some degree, though you know, it does seem to be better. It has been better than it was as far as the technical difficulties, and nothing's changed as far as the equipment. It's not new equipment. I remember we had issues with microphones, and we still have the same. I have 4 microphones, but we keep using the second cheapest one because it's been working relatively well, and you know, it's still a good microphone. But it's just interesting because it's just that the powers that be have taken other avenues, such as, you know, demonetizing, making it, well, penalizing us for speaking what we view as our truth and our mission here on the planet. For those of you that pay attention to such things, the KP index has gone as high as 6. So we see often the KP index going up to a 5 with a minor geomagnetic storm, but now it went up to 6. Now, last night I woke up in the middle of the night with a headache out of nowhere, and that's what it was. It was the KP index, because we are going through a period of rapid change. And, you know, well, you know, some people are still so stuck in the mindset of what they've learned in school, which again is all the programming of the controllers, that, you know, these evolutionary changes happen very, very slowly. Well, sometimes they happen very, very quickly. As I see a butterfly going overhead. And this is one of those times. The changes that are ongoing have been studied by the CIA. In fact, there's so many declassified CIA documents, and Sassy's agreeing, that show that at these times, when you have these type of conditions, well, what are we talking about? Well, you know, the Earth itself is undergoing a magnetic pole reversal, which science will tell us can take massive eons of time to transpire. Yet we can see instances where these reversals have happened in a single generation, if we look back through the evidence. But again, so much of what we have got as far as facts and figures is again coming out of that system, which is all about control and distortion, giving us the victor's view of the narrative, which is not necessarily the reality.
You know, and a lot of people feel like, you know, they talk about the Bible as the end-all be-all, and they don't go anywhere past that because they've been conditioned not to. That's their stopping point. They're allowed to study this and only this and no more, because there might be something bad or wrong with spirituality and understanding the mechanisms of our brains and our abilities. But, you know, we were just looking up this morning how many studies the CIA has done on human consciousness, and it is endless. It's endless. They really, really, I mean, took things and studied them inside out and learned about them and just really had a heyday. And for many people who are just waking up, they don't even know these studies are out there. So I just wanted to bring that to people's attention. We are in a rapid growth situation right now. Our minds are growing, our abilities are growing. People are not understanding their energy. They're not knowing what's going on, but it's because our light bodies are becoming activated. This can cause a lot of problems, especially if you've been through trauma. And so many of us have had certain traumas. So when your light body is activated and you've had these traumas, it's like plugging in a circuit and then having it blow out, you know, partway through, because there's damage to the vessel. So that's why I'm always talking so much about healing, because with the healing and these energies coming online, it's safe. It's safe. You're going to turn on energetically in a manner that's not going to bring you trauma. Mike is very, very fortunate. He's been working on this path for many years. Therefore, when he is activated, it's not going to short circuit. Me, on the other hand, having been having trauma since I was small and other lives, I really went through a period where I was struggling with my abilities. But once they're turned on, they're turned on. You know, you can't go back and shut that switch off. But what you can do is you can go into deep meditation, you can do energy work, you can learn mantras to try to smooth everything out and get that energy running the way it should.
Yeah, absolutely. It does make a difference. For me, you know, again, I am able to handle the energies a little bit easier. And again, I'm a unusual kid. So at 8, I was sitting in my closet meditating. So, and my son's the same way.
Yeah, his children are the same way. And please understand, if you have these abilities, know that your children are going to have the same abilities, and they're going to look to you someday for answers and understanding. And that's another reason why I decided to go explore more, go step out of the Bible and understand these things, because I knew one day my kids were going to have questions, and I wanted to be there for answers, to help them, you know, to guide them. Because how many people really understand what's going on, because they have kept it from us on so many levels.
Yeah, the video that we did yesterday stirred the pot a lot for a lot of people. Well, I shouldn't say a lot, really. There was probably 5 or 6 comments, you know, that were saying things like, well, you know, why you keep quoting it, you know, quoting the Bible if you feel that there's nothing there. Well, it's just because it's the conditioning of society. 75% of Americans, people in the U.S., you know, well, they recognize themselves as being Christians. So we're speaking to the masses. In order to bring across great wisdom, we don't ever have to go into there. We're just doing it to basically do wordage, language, familiar phrases that people know. But no, if you really want to grasp how the universe works, go more into the Eastern texts. There's far more there. There's much more in just the Tao Te Ching. And so many other books like the Shiva Sutras, the Upanishads, the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. These are deep insights. The Puranas. There's so many, of course, the Vedas. You know, there's so many different texts out there that have so much deep, vast knowledge, which is just basically talking about consciousness itself, not about who begat who and lineages and punishment and a vengeful God and all that. No, just questioning what is the nature of reality, what is the nature of existence, you know, what is consciousness itself. You know, the bigger questions. So yes, we don't ever really have to go into the BIBLE to find any sort of wisdom that is unique. We could always just simply go within once we have a certain understanding of how to go within, how to allow the mind to quiet, how to shut off that nonstop voice, which again takes practice. And so, you know, for me, daily practice of yoga, Qigong, meditation has been something I've been doing for decades and decades. And it didn't come easy at first. At first, you know, I remember spending 4 months of not missing a day and not really getting any sort of results that were measurable. And then all of a sudden, I felt something I'd never felt before. And then I was sleeping and I woke up and I actually saw a chakra.
Right. And these are things that can happen during awakening. And I did want to touch on that because many people who become activated, they start having experiences where they see things like this. And many times that's our abilities coming online, but it's also our star family coming to see us, coming not to interrupt your human experience, but to let you know just enough to say, hey, we're here. We got you. We're watching you. You know, I mean, in many ways, it's like a big game of Survivor in some ways, and your team is helping you from the other side. So when we become activated and you have these experiences, please know and understand that's your ancestors, that's your guides, these are your angels. You can now have a perception of them like you never have before. And not just perception, no. So many people have 3D experiences.
Absolutely. And I keep losing my voice here, and I feel awesome. So it's nothing, no, nothing really. It's just simply a throat chakra thing.
Really, allergies and throat chakra, they go together.
Yeah, I don't really think I have allergies, though. I mean, I don't feel it. But then again, we're always purging as we purge emotionally. And, you know, that's a big, huge thing to understand. Again, we were talking about how we store energies that we cannot process in the body. And these energies now is the time for them to go bye-bye. Now is the time to process anything that does not serve us and let it go. That could be very, very painful. And, you know, one of the guides was coming through last night and was sharing with us that people are going to be handling these energies in different ways. Right now, you might see a lot of random acts of chaotic violence even out on the earth as people are trying to shed their past traumas. And it's going to look different for everybody. And then, of course, we have many different factors going on because we do have, you know, the powers that be putting out all sorts of technologies to actually control people's thoughts and you know, frequency. So you have that happening in an artificial sense. We see the towers everywhere. You know, the technology is everywhere. That's why the guides have warned to turn it off as much as possible. Get yourself away from that as much as possible. It's really important for your energy body to be able to process the things it has to process in order to help you go to that next stage.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, I want to take this moment, this 3D moment, to explain what does it look like when you purge. If, you know, I've been having the same thing with my throat chakra being attacked, and also purging, you know, because there's been so many times in my life where I wasn't allowed to speak, I wasn't able to speak. So when that throat chakra starts to come online, when there are things that are stuck, you're going to do that. You're going to be clearing your throat. You are going to get things that give you allergies. It's just that 3D way that it shows itself, really, even though it's in the ether, even though it's an etheric problem. It's something that started outside of yourself. So if you have stomach problems, this is your sense of self. You feel my stomach hurts, but no, this is your sense of self. Something is purging, something is affecting you and your sense of self. So this can make the stomach hurt or give you intestinal issues. But that's what it looks like in the 3D, when really all of these things start out in the ether. Like the traumas start outside of you and they work their way in. And this is why it's so important to work on keeping our temple clean, keeping ourselves healthy, working through our traumas, and we can see them in a 3D way.
Absolutely. And, you know, it's true. I was just thinking about this as Cindy's talking, as I had said, well, I don't naturally really have any allergies anymore. I did a certain period of time. I was bogged down in allergies, and that was really because of emotional grief, because I wasn't happy doing the work I was doing. I wasn't happy in the relationship I was in. I wasn't happy with life because I wasn't living my purpose. And as soon as I started to get on the path, not necessarily living my purpose yet, but starting to get on the path that would take me to that purpose, I started to get healthier and stronger. Allergies started to disappear. All sorts of aches and pains disappeared. All of a sudden, I was getting more vibrant. And, truly, in my early 50s, I think I was definitely healthier all the way around than in my early 30s. And that is possible for anybody. It's totally possible. And we're going to a different place now. Everything is changing very, very rapidly. The changes are mind-boggling, but the CIA knows this. They understand. The CIA, the FBI, all these alphabet soups, the KGB, and obviously the CCP too. I mean, they all understand that there's rapid evolutionary changes going on. And again, not everybody is going to get these things. Some people are going to be tricked. Some people are literally going to accept slavery, and they're going to do it wholeheartedly because they don't understand what they're doing, really. Yet, this is where we are going to break off into two distinct, very, very different paths. And some are going to go and reacquire what nature, what God with the big G has always wanted for us, which is our freedom, our co-creative ability with the rest of the universe to just create that which we desire in the deepest parts of our heart. And others are going to willingly go off into lives of servitude that may last multiple lifetimes, many, many lifetimes. And, again, it's just unfortunately not understanding that bigger picture. But they know that our literal DNA is changing. Our organ systems are changing. Literally, they are just becoming something different. Homo sapiens, as we know it, is in its last days. This is, as the WEF pointed out, they understand this, that Homo sapiens are going to be no more. You could look at the two paths as Homo sapiens minimus, the ones that are going to be nothing but minimally operating from a point of self-autonomy, or like Homo sapiens maximus, which is going to be very self-autonomous. It's going to be operating out of their own free will and are going to acquire abilities that to most people would seem almost unhuman, superhuman. When we see all these references to mutants and gods and superheroes, that's basically, when we look to the legends, the Greek legends, the Hindu legends, the Chinese legends, they all speak of a time in the Golden Age where the humans were just like the gods. It's only in the Dark Age that we're not. We're acquiring those abilities. We've had more than just two strands of operating DNA. And DNA is not just in the body. It's also in the etheric bodies. It's in the light body. Our light body is being worked on by our guides, all of us, not just Cindy and I and other starseed light workers, but whether we acknowledge them or not, the guides are trying to help all of us. The sad part is that certain belief systems have gotten people believing that their own guides, the beings that care for them more than anybody else, are actually demons, are actually negative entities. The ones that could help them, they're actually, unfortunately, of the mindset, because of the religious belief systems that have been put into place, viewing them as a negative entity when they're the positive ones trying to help them, and the negative ones are enslaving them, unfortunately. But we're not going to wake up everybody. Some people are, as we said, going to end up willfully going into that slavery, while others will soar to all new heights and explore all new depths of personal creative freedom.
Mm-hmm. And healing is going to come in waves. Things are going to get a lot better, and then more things are going to want to come to the surface as it has as energy is restored, as we heal. When there's room and a space for more of our traumas to come to the surface, to say, hey, look at me, process me, I would like to be processed and out of here, and when I'm out of here you'll have more room. And basically it's those energies that cannot be ignored. So when we go through traumas, we can only white knuckle it for so long. We can only muscle through it for so long. And at some point, higher self is going to step up and say, oh, no. You're not going to muscle through it. You're not going to ignore it. You're going to speak to it, and you're going to answer to it, and you're going to process it. And what does that look like for everyone? Gosh, it's so different for every single person. But, there's methods that can be used to help, and I strongly urge people to look into tapping. That is a process where you can ask yourself certain questions, bring up certain energies, and then process them out. And many times it does come with tears. It might come with you being exhausted afterwards, because that's where energy is transforming around your body, and it's actually can be taxing on our earthly bodies.
Everything that you see going on here by the controllers in an artificial way, they're really mimicking a lot of natural processes that they know would occur. They know this because this is not the first go around. And for Cindy and I, we've been through multiple cycles of this in the past, and thankfully with her ability to see deep and go into full trance, partial trance channeling, we're able to get a bigger picture, and then it does trigger things in me too, where I get these like snapshots, these photographs, and it's stuff that might take time to decipher, and that's always been my way of kind of seeing things, more in snapshots or small little movie clips that reveal themselves later on. But we all have these unique gifts that are going to be coming out into the forefront. I remember holding my little daughter in my arms, and it was like 3 a.m. and I was feeding her. She was a newborn. This is 34 years ago. And I all of a sudden was looking at all these energy patterns all around me, and it was boggling my mind, because this was the time period where my ability to see energy all the time got turned on. And I immediately went off to an ophthalmologist and got my eyes checked, and numerous times after that, because I was seeing the life force all around me all the time. In some ways it looked like in the Matrix, where he's all of a sudden sees the agents down the hall and everything is streaming around in rivers of energy. And it was very disconcerting. And that only came about after I had gotten a blockage in my sacral chakra, which was due to relationship issues, to be cleared, and that was after months of every single day, forcing myself to sit down to a minimum of an hour of meditation every day. So these things do take time, but the beauty of it in these times is I really think you could do 10 days of work in like an hour now. You could probably do 10 years worth of work in maybe just a handful of months, because the energies that are coming into the planet are changing the planet at such a rapid rate. It's really, an old timer like me with, 4 decades, those 4 decades you guys could achieve in no time. Maybe 18 months. You could do 4 decades worth of work if we just dedicate ourselves to a regular meditative practice.
Mm-hmm. And that's how the energy is moving. This is what's going on with this Lionsgate portal. It is doing things at such a rapid pace, it might be very, very uncomfortable. So if you are feeling a lot of discomfort, a lot of anxiety, if you're not able to sleep, this is where you would want to take a candle, learn to sit there and quiet meditation for just a few minutes at a time, learn mantras. We always start with Ganesh. Ganesh is a mantra that we use to kind of ground ourselves, and just to pull ourselves in. And it can bring you a lot of peace. So we do have that mantra on the playlist.
Yeah, there's like 35, I think, mantras or so. And one of the differences, so you'll have people of a fundamentalist mindset that will say you're praying to demons. And again, it couldn't be further from the truth. These are the beings that we're able to connect with when we are in the golden and silver age very easily, very clearly. It's only in the dark age that we're cut off from these beings. And the term guru, that's really what they are. They're teachers. They're gurus, they're teachers. And so it's connecting to a teacher, connecting to a bigger brother, a bigger sister, an aunt, an uncle, a dear friend that we've had in many cases for multiple lifetimes, that has more knowledge, more wisdom than we do, and that can guide us. So it's not like we're in subservience to these beings, because whatever energy we give them, they take it, they amplify it, they send it back to us to better us in our situation. These are not parasitic beings. These are benevolent beings. Very, very different there. They don't demand blood sacrifice. They don't demand any sort of obedience. Just whatever you want to send their way, they will take, they will amplify, and they will send it back to you. And when you develop the ability to sense and see the energies, the benevolence comes right across. And that's part of, like, when people, like, there was a couple of comments that said, have you ever given thought to maybe the Bible's right? Yeah, when I was 5, and it's just when you wake up, and if your pineal gland is activated, and so both, Cindy and I, our kundalini's activated, pineal glands are activated, Merkabas are activated, so our light bodies are fully activated. And this is why when we were driving by the military base, the TR-3B came over and started zapping us in Mississippi, because they could see, oh, these people are awake. It's just like Roddy Piper, right? Where one of them, and They Live, where one of them gets on her watch phone and says, uh-oh, I have some that could see us here. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what it is. When your light body's activated, you don't have any questions. You know what's a lie. You just know. I mean, it's just, again, it's like a kid. Once you know Santa Claus is your parents, the Easter Bunny is your parents, you can't go back to believing that Santa Claus exists as we're told as kids. Same thing with the Easter Bunny, the Tooth Fairy, all those things. You can't go back to believe. You can't reinsert yourself back in the Matrix once you know that's all a ruse. That's all a lie. It's just part of the control. It's impossible, so you can't delude yourself once you can see through that.
Mm-hmm. And once you're starting to become activated, because there's different stages, you will notice a difference in the way people treat you, the way people talk to you, the way things happen around you. It's so curious, because say you were just thinking maybe you don't feel like going to a doctor's appointment. Well, an hour later, the doctor's office is going to call and say, well, we need to reschedule. We're so sorry. So these are the things that start to come online, and they start to happen. And that's how you're able to be seen now. You have something new going on, and now it's time to do the healing and the quiet meditation, and just allow those energies to integrate very, very slowly.
Absolutely. So as always, guys, thanks for your support on Ko-Fi and Patreon. We couldn't do it without you. We look forward to your comments. Much love. God bless, and namaste.
Namaste.